seven, old business. 7A is software implementation update. I'll turn that over to Mr. Lukowski.
I'll take it. So, we have been moving forward with the implementation of the admin software, which is our billing software. They did a full upload during the month of January. Everything appears to have gone well, and they're continuing to work with that. The Waterworks software we're still working at it, with Dave resigning and leaving the organization. You know, staff is kind of doing other things. They're helping me work on the budget. So that software is gonna take a little bit longer to fully develop.
Okay, 7B, ban bond conversion 2026. Discussion and possible action on a risk register.
So I did take a few moments and I kind of thought about how the next 6, 12, 24 months are gonna be for the WSA. And as we talk about just kind of points of understanding, points of responsibility, points of accountability for staff, putting together a risk register was kind of like just putting everything out there so that it stays in front of the authority for you guys to monitor what you should be doing and or tracking and keeping staff accountable to ensure that we're following through with what needs to happen. Because we are gonna have to work through the bond conversion, and there's gonna be a lot of financial planning that's gonna be needed. Understanding what the rate is going to support for our budget, what rates need to do as a result of that bond conversion. We are working with our bond manager, we're getting those discussions going with them, and as we develop this is just kind of a draft for you to look at and understand what you may want to put on here, or you may want to take off here. We could add this and layer it in as we move forward. I'll provide the information as we get it and discuss it, and we could add it. And this will be for you guys to track this, you know, over the next 6, 12, 24 months. So I guess from my perspective, what I would ask is if you would read it, kind of get a feel for it, see if you think this would be helpful, and then give feedback, and we could develop something and agree on a path forward.
Sure enough, if everybody can take a look at that when you get an opportunity, that would be great. Anticipate some feedback.
It was placed in the packet, so everybody should have a copy. If you need another copy, I'll be happy to email it to you.
Okay. You need a motion then?
I don't think so. I think it'd be best if you review it, kind of, we
Okay,
discuss
get
ideas.
a motion later on.
Yes.
Okay.
All right, 7C, discussion and possible action on the town council's usage basis for bond repayment.
So, there's I don't wanna say discrepancy, but, you know, the council gave the WSA a directive in setting that the rate structure. The WSA took the position that you have control over setting rates. That's backed up by what is in our charter as well as what's in the statute. We still don't have an agreement on right or wrong. I tend to agree that WSA has that right through charter and statute. So we do have to, again, start these discussions and understand how to move this forward. I will be going back to the town attorney to kind of work through this, and if we determine that this is fully within your wheelhouse, I have to go back to the council and advise them of that. So again, it's just to restart the discussion and figure a way to move forward.
You want to move the table?
I'm sorry?
Do you want to move the table?
I think it would be a good idea to move the table. I'll work with the town attorney over the next 30 days.
That's a
to
motion.
Second.
Motion has been made to table and second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Discussion on 7D is discussion on setting rates for 2026.
So, as I was going through the budget and understanding the impact of the increase that was done in August 2025, not knowing your budget intimately, it took me a lot of work to kind of pull the information and understand where your revenue comes from, you know, how your expenses were structured. And as I'm pulling all this information, I'm gonna be honest, I don't have the expertise to understand how to really split this up and decide, you know, the percentages and how to apply it to the rates. I think that we've pulled enough information, I have enough information that I can provide to next gen, or new gen. I think that the authority should direct me, and I don't need that through motion, just to say, yes, let's give the information back to new gen, have them update it, and then he comes back and reports to you so that you understand the impact to our budget and what it means to our rates, because we're gonna need that information to understand how to move forward the next,
Yeah, I
again,
think
6 to 12 months.
we need to continue with Mike Mike Baker on that, we're working with.
You want a motion that's informal, you want a motion that you have here which is formal?
I don't need a motion, if you were in agreement, I will get that information to him, I'll
Okay.
have him update it, and then it could be brought back to you as a presentation to accept it.
Yeah, I think in the,
You need them.
we need him in, you know, with Dave leaving and, you know, there's a little bit of, you know, we need that information to be able to make an informed decision moving forward, so if we can continue with that.
Okay, I'm leaving for vacation soon.
Are you coming back?
I promised that, I promised to get this information out to him before I leave, so he could, you know, immediately start working on it.
All right, thank you. Item 7E is Berkshire Estates. Consider a vote to permit the city of Waterbury to provide water and sewer services to Berkshire Estates.
So several months ago, I had sent to Dave, Mark Lovely, who's a developer, I think we all know, he's done a lot of work in town. Went to planning and zoning on a project, a development for the end of Berkshire Drive, which is actually a road that's in Waterbury. Watertown has no water and sewer service anywhere near this Berkshire Estates development. The city of Waterbury has water and sewer right there. And so you guys voted for me to be able to talk to Waterbury about it. Waterbury said, we don't have a contract, we don't have to talk to you, we just need to know what the Water and Sewer Authority says. So frankly, I'm here saying, if you guys are okay with letting Waterbury provide the water and sewer service to this small development, just vote to do that. I'll take that back to Waterbury, and we don't have to worry about it at all. We won't have any pipes to fix, we won't have obviously any revenue, but we also won't have any cost.
Where exactly is that Berkshire Estates?
Opposite the projects.
Down off of Shaw's Hill?
Way over
Yeah.
the top of Ross Hill, yeah. And there's a piece of land up there that's been sitting there forever.
10 acres that Garasino used to own.
Right.
You can't get an entrance onto Sunnyside because it's a 15% grade, okay, and that's what stopped Garasino from
Yeah, there's another road up there too that's never been completed, and I don't think it ever will because it's.
Colonial.
Colonial,
Yeah.
right, exactly, and that road I don't think we'll ever get.
The key to this thing, and I talked to Dave about this, if we ever want to drain the lower end of Falls Avenue over the top of the hill, okay? And the reverse part of Colonial, that's too high to go to Waterbury, we need to dump that water down into this Berkshire Estates. And I told Dave, and he got I think, 20-foot easement for future use of bringing our pipes down to that line. However, I wanna make sure that that's our line, okay?
It's not our line, that's the whole point, we
It's
don't
not-
have a line
No,
up there.
no, that road is in Watertown,
Yeah,
okay?
yeah,
We make it our line.
it's a private road, it's not gonna be a
No,
public
it's gonna be
street.
it's gotta be a public road.
Why? It doesn't, it's a self-contained unit. My understanding is it's all private roads.
Oh,
Yeah, it's not public road.
oh, I
down
thought
there.
it
No,
was
no.
Berkshire extended with houses on both sides and a cul-de-sac.
It's kind of a loop.
Oh, okay.
It's kind of like the 55 or over that he's doing up on off of Pondview Estates.
All right, but here's the thing that planning and zoning got involved in the past. That since it's in the town of Watertown, fire services, police services, highway services, if it were not private, okay, would all come from Watertown, going through Waterbury to get there. And that was another discouraging factor as to why it was not approved.
Okay, well, this was approved.
Okay,
This has already been
That's-
approved.
But that, just to be clear, that's private down there.
It's all
not-
private.
yeah.
It's basically like a condo association.
Exactly.
On that basis, as long as we can connect onto that line if we ever need to,
We have the right of way.
now we have the right of way, okay, so then it doesn't make a difference.
Okay, and I'll make that a point when I get back to Waterbury.
And that's another thing, folks, that when we have one of these applications before us, we should take a look at it along with the superintendent, because a lot of us here have experience and know where you have to dump something out to. If that wasn't picked up, we would have no way to service those back lots.
And Joe, you're talking about sanitary sewer, not.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
so
And water.
So,
if you guys are okay doing that, then
yes,
I'll need a motion.
I'll entertain a motion if somebody wants to make a
So
motion.
moved.
So a motion for to permit the city to provide water and sewer services to Berkshire Estates. Motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. All opposed say nay. Okay, motion carries unanimously. Item number 8, new business. 8A, discussion and possible action on freezing the 2026 operational budget for water and sewer operations. Turn it over to town manager for.
So basically, my thought process behind this is that it takes us about 3 months for revenue to start being generated, 3 to 6 months. So the rate increase that went into effect in August of 2025, we're just starting to see the revenue come into the organization. Knowing that we have a approximately $900,000 bill for the ban for the WSA's proportional share, I don't know if we're gonna generate enough income by that time for us to pay that. So in an effort to save the ratepayers and to really truly give us some space to understand the impact of all this, if we freeze the budget, any monies that are left over in that budget, we could use towards that payment. So my recommendation is that we freeze the budget at this point. I put together a memo to the authority as well as a resolution, kind of defining that we're still obligated to pay our personnel costs, contractual obligations, you know, the normal cost of business. We have emergencies, we would take care of that. But day-to-day operation, it's gonna be more strict for staff, that they're gonna have to either come to the Public Works Director or myself for approval to expense outside of those parameters. The resolution, I believe, kind of gives you a full description of that, and with that approval, we'll make that go into effect first thing in the morning.
Where do you want this read?
I think it'd be
Yeah.
good for
Yeah,
everyone.
okay.
No.
All right, resolution Watertown Water and Sewer Authority temporary budget freeze for year 2025, 2026. Whereas it is desired of the Watertown Water and Sewer Authority to support fiscal stability and responsible financial management for the payers and the users of the Watertown Water and Sewer Authority, it is now therefore be resolved that the Water and Sewer Authority hereby authorize a temporary budget freeze effective January 21, 2026, and shall remain in effect through June 30, 2026, unless modified or rescinded by the authority, and further resolved that during this period, all discretionary and non-essential expenditures shall be restricted and required prior written approval from either the Public Works Director or the Town Manager, and further resolved that essential expenditures, including payroll, benefits, emergency repairs, operations necessary to maintain water and sewer service and expenditures required by law, regulation, contract, or debt obligation shall continue with the adopted budget. And further resolve that the finance director is authorized to delay payment of expenditures not in compliance with this regulation. At a meeting held on, you want me to write this in?
Yes, and then we'll have,
Yeah, and just
Okay, the
check
date
it.
today is,
Just,
21st.
yeah, the last word there, Joe, is a resolution now. Just to-
oh, not quite with this resolution.
Yeah.
At a meeting held on 1/21/26. The foregoing resolution was moved for adoption by Joe Massey,
I'll entertain the motion by Joe. Do I have a
seconded by you,
I'll second it.
Keith Francis.
So we've got, the motion's been made and seconded basically to, temporary freeze on the 25-26 budget. Is there any discussion on that?
Who's it pass fail?
Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Okay, motion carries.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Let's see.
Keith, you sign that, and then Jim will sign it too.
8B, discussion and possible action on fiscal year 26-27 sewer operational 015, water operational 017, and capital budgets.
So basically, I went through the budget, basically took an effort to deconstruct the budget to understand where all the numbers are coming from, and then we put it back together. I did create several documents to provide to you, but I learned today that I did not capture some of the revenue, so I had to make a lot of adjustments to the budget document, which I have made. I need to go back and kind of go through and actually, tie together all the numbers to ensure that what I put together is correct. So I will bring documents at another meeting to say, this is how I got together all our information, this is where we pulled it from, and just to show that you understand where we pulled it from and you're in agreement. So the effort in this budget is really to bring it back to you so you understand where it's coming from. You maybe already know, but with everything going on with water and sewer, I think it's a good exercise for us to do that. I did put together an executive summary, and it is attached to the two budgets, the 015 and 017. And basically, I think the most expeditiously way to go through this budget is to kind of go through this executive summary, explain what I did. We could then go through very quickly through the numbers, understanding, I'll explain where the revenue came from, and I'll explain to you what I did with the expenses. And then if we have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them, and then we can move on from there. But basically, I'm gonna present this to the council when we finally move your budget forward. And the first paragraph, I just wanna kind of go through the understanding of how the water and sewer operates, talking about your enterprise, fund, what it's made out of, and kind of really explain that back to the council so that they fully understand. We do have 2 new council members, and I think it would be to their benefit to hear that. The usage and methodology and planning assumptions. So basically, it seemed to me that every year we would just adjust the numbers accordingly and raise them. We never really went back and looked at our average, at least not that I'm aware of. So I don't know if other superintendents did that, they may have, but that was never shared with me. So we went back and pulled 6 to 7 years of data on what the Watertown Fire District has paid us, what Waterbury has charged us. We looked at our water usage and our sewer, the consumption of sewer as we sent it through the meter. We took that 6 to 7 year and we made an average. So we used those numbers to say, okay, we're not gonna have an anomaly where last year our numbers were very high. If we use those and just bumped up, we're artificially increasing our budget. So we took the average, and that's the exercises. I will provide documents moving forward to show the math for everybody to see. Sewer costs, I know you guys are experts in this, I'm kinda new to it, but we do have two sets of numbers that we use for sewer. We have a wholesale usage number that we provide to the Watertown Fire District, and then we have a retail number which you just set your numbers in August to increase, I believe, $6.09. So we have a $5.28 wholesale, and we have a $6.09 retail. We separated WFD from our WSA to kind of understand the breakdown, and that'll all be given to you in the other documents. We then turn and we look at the revenue, same thing, we split it up, we understood what the revenue can produce, and you'll be able to use this information as you evaluate rates in the future. This is the part that I didn't capture correctly because I didn't really understand it, but we do have a flat fee, and I know you guys are aware of that we capture when you first, so many usage of gallons on the sewer and water side, there's a flat fee that's associated with the billing. So I did capture it on the water side, but I didn't capture it on the sewer side, and it kind of threw all my numbers off. The budget documents do reflect the correct numbers. It's just my backup information that I will correct for you. On the water budget context, I think I want to go back into that paragraph and actually add the details so it could be spelled out exactly how I got to where I came to these numbers, because there's going to be people who are going to use these documents to understand how we got to where we were going. Understanding that the 015 and 017, those are our operating budgets. As you know, all operation monies go into those budgets, all our expenses come out of those budgets, and then any monies that we want to put into capital is then pulled from that budget and then held over in those capital budgets. I think at some points people get confused where even though there's one big bucket of money, it's just split up for us to understand how we're putting it aside for usage. And I think that that's a good topic for us to get out to the council, that we're separating these monies out because you guys have planned for infrastructure and things of that nature, and we wanna make sure we understand that. One of the amounts of money that is not captured in this budget that I do have to add to it is the debt service. So we will have our debt service that has been in place for many years, and you guys carried it over, 15, 20 years through those bond payments. We're working on finalizing those numbers. I don't have it. My intent is to ask you tonight to tentatively agree to this budget with the conditions that I will bring back those debt numbers so we truly understand the impact. I just want to make sure we're in agreement as I try to move this budget forward. Also in the executive summary, we talked about all the fund balances. I know there's been some discussions over the years, and we had a hard time on the town side producing these numbers for you because of our software system. Our software system, we're up to date. We're tracking everything in real time. We're still behind in reconciliation, but we're moving quickly. We're in the process of completing the 24-25 audit, which will produce us final numbers. We're very confident that these numbers are actual numbers in all your funds. So that's provided there. If there are some adjustments through the auditor, I will bring that back to you as an authority to advise you of that. But at this point, we do not expect those numbers to change. And again, this is a draft budget. With Dave leaving, it kind of put us under the gun to produce a budget. And I'm asking you to, entrust that I will move these numbers forward respectfully of your decision, and I will bring back any material changes to the budget. So again, the debt is something that's gonna move this budget one way, and it's gonna move it, it's gonna take our profit away because it's a debt that's owed. And then there are gonna be some minor adjustments in the personnel area of the budget. We still don't have, we do have Social Security, but our insurance costs aren't really in there. I did use, and as I go through this, I'll explain some of the changes that I made. We did estimate a 15% increase for insurance. We don't have our dental yet, life insurance numbers, or disability insurance. Those are the things that we're gonna see small movement in the budget as it's fully developed. if you refer to your first large page, and if you're looking at that budget sheet, all the way to the left, it identifies it as a 015, which is your sewer budget. So what we did is we went and we recreated the budget, looking at past, we looked over the last 3 years and we identified the trend. And if, you know, Dave had inflated some of the numbers, and I think he was trying to get ready to layer in some of our projects. And that was kind of the process that we were taking to ensure that our infrastructure doesn't end up like Waterbury, so we wanted to invest in it. I think, you know, looking at that and understanding that, you know, we're gonna have to have a new superintendent, I kinda wanted to bring the numbers back to actuals. That way, that new superintendent can decide he wants to do his budget, or she wants to do his budget with your approval. So, just looking at revenue, we looked at an interest on investments. I expect that that's gonna trend higher once we actually put those numbers on what interest we earned on those, on the money that's in there. So revenue, so this is the part where I got kind of mixed up when we were doing this budget. So we have the revenue from the WSA, which is our retail side. We have the revenue from the WFD, which is our wholesale side, and then we have the flats. Okay, so all that number adds up to about $6 million that we expect in revenue. And as we then go through the budget, you know, we're gonna look at all the expenses that come through the budget. I kind of adjusted everything back to what I think was a normal trend. I left some money in, I met with staff, we talked about, you know, what is important to them and what they felt is needed. Jerry, what was the pump station up on Bunker Hill? That's a funded project. We're gonna make sure that that continues to be, you know, go through, and it'll be a working project that will complete within this budget. I left some money in, I adjusted all your salaries to reflect actually what the salary is. There was some monies in there that were adjustments. We clarified them, made sure that they're completely in line with what union contracts state. We did add some money to your wage and benefit adjustment. We do have a contract that's still open. And then, of course, the superintendent salary line item will be adjusted by the council upon the decision. So we added some money on the wage and benefit adjustment to capture any of those outliers. I did not fund any additional positions, as Dave was trying to build the organization to, you know, work through all this infrastructure improvement or enhancement. I explained to you last March that I thought it was very important that we keep our organization at the size that it is now, until we can make decisions and move forward from where we're at. So I did not add any positions there. And I actually defunded the ones that you may have wanted to do. You know, as again I said, medical insurance, I added 15% on both sides of the house. Professional and technical services, I left it on the higher side at $100,000. If you look across the line item over the last 3 years, you really didn't spend that money in that line item. But after discussing with our staff, you have a lead and copper issue that has to be dealt with. I left that money in the budget to pull from that, because I'm gonna recommend that we don't take any money out of our operating budgets and move it to capital at this point. And that's kind of in my executive session, when I culminate this, it's basically, I wanna leave the money where it's at. The new superintendent could come in and sit with you guys, you could prioritize what you want, and then we can move through any appropriation as you want through the year. The other adjustment, your electricity was budgeted very high. I cut it back. And then I met with somebody to talk about electric rates for next year, and I actually adjusted it from where I thought. I brought it up to about the $60,000 range on both sides, because we're expecting a 15 to 18% increase on the electricity side. So I wanted to make sure that you guys don't run short, and we have to then come back to you as an authority and ask for those permissions. You know, again, any of the transfers out of here, I didn't include because I feel it's gonna be very important for the new superintendent to actually sit down with you guys and understand what your priorities are. And then, you know, we do give a stipend to Mr. Lukowski for his overseeing of the WSA, and Jerry holds all the licenses, so we're able to operate. So even though we don't have a superintendent, we have Jerry who's sitting in, and he has the licenses for us to operate. So we had agreed when Jerry first came here and he took over the WSA, stood in for the superintendent position, we had actually agreed on a $12,000 stipend, $6,000 on each side of the house. It was never really, added into the budget and explained, so we just created a line item so it's completely understood that there is money going outside to cover, the expertise and the license for the director. The 017, I don't wanna bore you guys, I mean, I know you know both sides of the house are very similar. There are some outliers, and I kind of went with recommendations by what staff said, so that we can continue to operate. I would assume without a lot of capital projects, we go back to looking at maintenance side, so I left those monies in the budget so that, you know, WSA employees can continue to work as we move forward. I'd be happy to answer any questions on how I got to these numbers or give more explanation if needed. Just as a reminder, as I have it stated on here, this is a draft budget, it is gonna change.
Thank you, Mark. I see you put a lot of time and effort into this.
I hope I never have to talk about water and sewer again.
Yeah, and, you know, I understand Dave's departure, you know, left us in a little bit of limbo there, so it was, I appreciate the effort.
I would like to add one more comment because I didn't culminate this. We are showing, you know, all week I worried because I was like, oh my God, we're showing a huge loss on this. We are showing a profit of about $900,000 on the sewer side and about $80,000 on the water side. And profit meaning we didn't have your debt in, so, you know, those numbers are gonna come down, but you are without moving money to capital in the black, which is a good thing. So we'll use all this information as we kind of continue to work through all the other financial planning we have to do.
Yes, we'll have to take all that into account when we start looking at the possible rate,
Yes.
our rate structure, so. Anybody have any questions?
Need motion?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, I move to approve the FY 2026, 2027 sewer operating budget Fund 015 and Fund 017 water operation budget with the understanding that personnel benefit line items may be adjusted if final cost information becomes available. Any material change to revenues or expenses, including adjustments related to debt service, shall be reported back to the authority for review and approval as those figures are finalized.
Motion made and seconded. Do I have any other discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Okay, motion carries unanimously. 8C, discussion and possible action on scheduling a public hearing for rate setting.
We're not ready for that yet.
No, I just wanna keep these things, you know, we'll put this and we'll move it to old business next time around, so we keep this momentum going.
Yeah, I think we have to keep it in the forefront, so,
Right.
because it's gonna be there, but we need to, you know, get through this and work with the consultant to get some more information.
Yes.
You have here I move to table to item C, should we just say move to table?
Sure.
Okay, move to table this item until we get further information.
Okay, move to table. Item 8D. Discussion and possible action on hiring a consultant to assist in messaging to keep ratepayers informed of future rate adjustments.
So basically, the reason behind this is we don't have the staff to go ahead and do this. Whether they have and I don't believe we have the staff that has the knowledge to actually get this messaging out there. I think that if the WSA authority would have, if they choose to move forward with any other, the right word is not coming to me. I think the best way is, as we move through this whole ordeal, our messaging was soft. We didn't get the message out there. We've heard that, you know, the people were upset that the messaging wasn't out there. I think looking at all the years that the council met and WSA met, and you guys talked about it, we should take more effort to kind of get that information out there. And yes, we can do social media blitzes, we can put, you know, mailers in there to keep everybody informed. But to rely on staff who's already trying to do your software updates, you know, they're getting into the financial software, they're trying to figure that out. There's a lot going on behind the scenes. To ask them to do this and to be successful at it, I don't think is a reality. I don't think that's gonna happen. We can try and do it on our own, but I would suggest that we get a little bit of help to get this going and get it.
Where would you come up with somebody that understood water and sewer?
Well, I think that.
Because the wrong thing said can really screw it up.
So I think that's something that we have to explore, because marketing is marketing, whatever the message may be. It would be the responsibility of the authority to make sure that we communicate the right message. But then how does that messaging get out there? So I belong to a think tank where I meet with town managers throughout the whole United States. And when I was going through this discussion point on how we got to where we were, one of the things that was an overwhelming response by, you know, I meet in a section of 24 to 25 individuals, was how would anybody expect you to do the messaging for this? Like, we're trying to run the town, we're trying to run the authority, and then for us to understand marketing is not a reasonable expectation. So I wanted to bring this idea to at least ponder it, and then if you want staff to take the crack at it, we'll try. We gave a lot of effort to get you this budget this week. Staff spent a lot of time to do that. We'll give it the effort. I just think getting a little bit of help would make it it would be better for the, you know, the community, for them to understand.
Absolutely, I'm in total agreement that we need to work on our messaging and get messaging out, however that may work.
Right.
Especially going forward, you know, not sure we can do much about what's already gone by, but we can, moving ahead, we do have some challenges in front of us. As far as, you know, right now, especially not having a superintendent in place, hopefully we'll be able to get that position filled. But, you know, we've got the budgeting, which is directly tied into the bond and where we're gonna need to be for that repayment, and working on rates to be able to support operating and maintaining our system. So, messaging is, I think, is very, very important.
The reason I brought the point up, I did, about getting the right slant. We can tell them what we want, but the way it's written, it's gotta get that point across. And I think the person's gotta have some kind of understanding of what we're about, so that the message rides with the authority based on what you can do, what you can't.
So I'm gonna be the devil's advocate here and say, all the job titles are frozen, no one's getting any income, but you're spending money on a messaging where if maybe you offered or just spoke to people that work in the office to see if the money that you're gonna spend on a messenger, that maybe they can do it, and this way here, they can get more money, right, because they're still doing the same job, their expenses are going to be higher. And so I think the way I'm looking at it is, I would like to give them a try first to see how it goes. And it may fail, or they may say, this is not our area of expertise, and move forward, versus giving it to someone else, whether it be an outside consultant or something, Do you see what I'm saying? Like, I think, it leaves a little bit of a bad taste in my mouth to say that I would rather give it to someone outside than someone that's already there and knows the wording, the jargon, you know? And there's always Copilot, like, I use Copilot every day, like I want to send a memo or something, and I'm like not really sure the terminology, or I want to soften what I want to say. I put it in Copilot and it does it right for me, and we all have it on our emails.
I'll do whatever you ask me to do, it doesn't
Mhm.
make a difference, but I'm gonna tell you, I worked Friday till 7:30, 8 o'clock. I worked all day Saturday, 14 hours, and I was in all day Monday for 12 hours to produce this budget. And I think most staff feel the same way, that we're working a tremendous amount of hours to, I don't wanna say people did things wrong in the past, because I don't believe they did, but we're spending a lot of time to improve our processes. This is a place that I think needs some effort, and I'm happy to say that we'll take a shot, but I'm telling you that, at some point, we should probably seriously consider that, because the impact of all the decisions that the WSA has to make, has to be out there, because not everybody's gonna agree.
You can't have Facebook take the lead on this,
No,
and that's what's happened.
yeah, and not everything that's on Facebook, sometimes it has a slant that's not, it's not to help the organization.
Sure.
There's an intent to be malicious against the organization. And we have to combat that. So I'm trying to put together a podcast to just sit and talk, and let's talk about, how does the town run, and what are we doing here, and why do we do what we do? But I may have a ton of information written, but trying to sit down and actually get it done and getting it off the, starting block has been very difficult. So,
You
yes,
could try what you said, it doesn't work.
we could try.
And I think it's a buy-in, like you'll get, listen, if someone came to me and said that, I'd be like, listen, that's not my area of expertise,
Yeah.
please go outside and hire someone. But at least I feel like my opinion has some value to it,
Sure.
I think it's a better buy-in.
I'd be happy to actually,
Yeah.
kind of take a shot at it. Again, that's what we're here for.
Yeah.
I mean, if
And
we
all you
can't
can
do it,
is
I'll tell
ask.
you.
Yeah, all you can do is ask and, let them say no, so this way here, they don't feel slighted.
Absolutely.
Keep emotions kind of written kind of wrong. I mean, I would suggest more leaving it up to you to, what are the best options. I mean, obviously you gotta look at the first Canner staff, it sounds like it's different, but can it be a combination of both? And maybe a recommendation is contact the CCM, see, ask for research. I worked with them before, and ask for a research assistant, see what other towns are doing first. And I know this is kind of, but it might be a start there, but I don't disagree with this as a whole, but I kind of putting the cart before the horse with me, what's the best, I would say, look into what would be the best way of going about it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I appreciate the feedback. I put it there because it's something that I think needs to happen. And I appreciate the feedback. We'll do what we can to try and move this forward, and then if not, I'll just come back and I'll give you the results.
Okay.
Perfect.
All right?
Alright.
I think that's fair enough.
Yeah.
All right, so, that completed 8D, which moves us to number 9,
Can I?
God almighty, we're here.
which is adjournment.
Make a motion with adjournment.
Second it.
Motion's made and seconded for adjournment, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.